This video will assist you in printing quarterly payroll reports. Before printing reports, you must close the quarter. This process is covered in a separate video. Either at the time you close the quarter or at a later date, before the reports are due, you will need to print them. To do so, from the Payroll menu, we select Payroll Tax Reports Control Center. To begin, enter the tax year and the quarter that was previously closed. When you do this, you will see the previous totals that were compiled from the quarterly closing. Because all of these totals agree, the report buttons at the bottom are activated and we can proceed with the reporting. The first button you see on the left is for the taxable wages by quarter. This report is normally used for troubleshooting only, and it is not necessary for you to print this report. The first report that will be printed is the quarterly state report. Our example data is for a California employer, so the California DE9 and DE9C forms will be printed using this button. Clicking on this button displays the quarterly report screen, and you'll notice that it has already filled in the quarter and year that we're printing, as well as the ending date of the quarter. The California report requires printing the heading data, so that box is checked. You don't need to check any of the other boxes unless you have had no payroll for the quarter or this is a final report. You will note that your SUI tax rate and the California training tax rate are listed here. If these are incorrect, you can override them. Since this is the fourth quarter, though, we hope that any problems with rates would have been corrected by now. We also will need to enter the total amount of the payments that we made for the quarter, and we can use the List Payments button to see what checks we've issued to the Employment Development Department. So when we click on this button, we'll have a message that comes up that explains what will happen here. It's going to compile checks between these two dates. However, it mentions you will need to adjust the amount if payments for 2011 are included in this date range or payments for other quarters. In addition, if you've made a payment after the end of the quarter, you will need to adjust it. So let's take a look at this screen to see what we need to do in order to get the amount of payments. As you can see here, there are two payments listed within the period of this quarter. The November 12th payment was in payment of October taxes. The December 15th payment was in payment of November taxes. So it looks like we are paying our taxes by about the 15th of the following month. In order to see whether or not we've paid anything for December, we need to move a month ahead to see what was paid in January. So we changed the ending date, and now we have the check that was issued in January for our December taxes. Our total payments are $7,498. So let's make a note of that. We'll come back here and we will enter that amount here in our payments. We can now preview the report on the screen. The first two pages are the DE9C, which list each employee, their Social Security number, taxable wages, and state withholding tax withheld, with the total on the second page. When we go to the third page, we have the DE9 form. This is the form that actually calculates the taxes due. So you'll notice we have our wages paid this quarter. We have no unemployment insurance or training tax due because all of our employees have exceeded the $7,000 wage limit. We do have disability insurance and California income tax withheld. And so we see our total due is $7,498.01. Our payments for the quarter have been $7,498, leaving a penny due. Both the DE9C and the DE9 forms have a place for you to sign the form, enter your title, phone number, and date, so that you can then mail these forms. It is not necessary to print these on a pre-printed form. If you file your DE9C electronically, you do not need to print the DE9C, but you must print the DE9, this last page, and file the paper copy if you are filing the MMREF electronic file format. This is the format that has been used through December 31st, 2012. Starting in 2013, you will not need to do this. A new state reporting format for California will allow you to upload both the DE9C and the DE9. We will have more detailed instructions and a video before the close of the first quarter in 2013 so that you will know how to do this. If you are printing a state report for a state other than California, the report will be printed in a generic format. For some states, the program will also ask for a file name and create a file that can be uploaded to the state. The on-screen help file contains additional information about other state forms that are printed, and any questions about other states may be directed to Data Tech support personnel. If you are required to file your quarterly report online, use the electronic filing button to create the file needed for upload. For 2012, the states that are supported for electronic filing are listed on this button. If you file your California DE9C electronically, you do not need to print the DE9C, but you must print the DE9, the last page, and file the paper copy. This is necessary when you are filing using the MMREF electronic file format. This is the file format that has been used up through the quarter ending December 31st, 2012. Starting in 2013, you will not need to do this. A new state reporting format will allow you to upload both the DE9C and the DE9. We will have more detailed instructions and a revised video before the close of the first quarter in 2013. If you are printing a state report for a state other than California, a report will be printed in a generic format. For some states, the program will also ask for a file name and create a file that can be uploaded to the state. The on-screen help contains additional information about other state forms that are printed or uploaded, and any questions about other states may be directed to Data Tech support personnel. If you are required to file your quarterly report online, you need to use the electronic filing button to create the file needed for upload. When we click on this, you will see that the quarter and year are automatically entered. For 2012, the states that are supported for electronic filing are listed here on the combo form. To create the file for our example company, which is a California company, all we need to do now is click into the destination drive path, and you'll notice that the program automatically selects where it is going to store this file, and we suggest you use that suggested path. Next, we click on the Generate button. Make sure that all of the electronic file transmitter information is correct. Click OK. once you have corrected any errors, and the file will be generated. A page will be previewed that contains totals for the report. Be sure to print this page so that you have those totals available during the upload process. You'll see that this form also shows us exactly where the file is located and the file name that needs to be uploaded. The next form that we're going to print is the Federal 941 form. This form is used only for reporting regular employees. If you are an agricultural employer only, you will not need to file this form, and you can skip the rest of this video. In our example company, we have both regular and agricultural employees, so we will need to file this form. When you click on the Federal 941 button, this screen will appear. As you can see, it is filled in the quarter and the year that we're processing. We now click on the button, Calculate Totals, and the totals are calculated for us. We have our total wages, total income tax withheld, Social Security taxes, Medicare taxes. We can adjust for any rounding errors, as we will see in a few minutes. Now, one of the things that we need to do is determine what deposits we have made for the quarter. We can do this by using the List Payments button. This will list the payments that have been made to the vendor that is identified in the federal tax rate file as the one that we pay the taxes to. In this case, it is the Internal Revenue Service. If you make deposits with your bank, it could be a bank. If you have been using the tax deposit screen in DataTech software, which is the recommended way of making your tax payments, each payment for taxes will be identified by the type of form. So this checklist is listing only 941 deposits, even though we've used the same vendor for deposits for Form 943 and 940. As you can see, there are only 2 months of deposits here. It is necessary again for us to change the ending date through the 15th of the following month so that we can see that payment for the last month of the year, which was made on January 5th. So we have our total payments that we've already made of $33,679.40. So we would want to enter that over here in total deposits for the quarter. And that just happens to equal the total taxes that are due. You now need to indicate what state the taxes were paid in and whether you are a monthly depositor or a semi-weekly depositor. So we enter CA for the state in which the deposits were made, and we're going to indicate that we are a monthly schedule depositor. You'll notice that our tax liability by month has come up automatically because we have previously run a tax liability report. However, if these totals are blank, all you need to do is click on Update Tax Liability, and the program will fill in those totals. The total for the tax liability must equal the total taxes due. And you'll see that that is the case. If the totals do not agree, then we can use the Adjust Tax Liability button to make an adjustment for any rounding errors. If you need to fill in parts 3 and 4 on the 941 report, you can do so at this time. Otherwise, you're ready to preview the report. This report will be printed on a facsimile of the 941 form that the IRS supplies. So all you need to do is sign and send in the report. If you are a semi-weekly schedule depositor, then when you print this report, page 2 will not have the tax liability by month. Instead, this box will be checked to indicate you are a semi-weekly depositor. And in that case, you need to complete Schedule B. To do so, you would click on the Schedule B tab, and then you can preview the form, and you will see the tax liability filled in on the day the checks were issued. If you have multiple payrolls during the month, you'll have the tax liability broken down by the day that it was paid. All you need to do then is print this report and file it along with the 941. This completes the payroll report printing process for California employers. If you have employees in multiple states, you will need to print quarterly reports for each state. If you are an Arizona employer, there is an additional report for Arizona withholding taxes that must be completed. This report is not on the closing control center. Instead, you would need to go to the payroll menu, quarterly tax reporting, and Arizona state withholding report. This concludes the quarterly closing video.